Hello and welcome to Quays News. Coming up on today's show.
A century after women gained the right to vote, we look at how times have changed.
We've not got the equality that we deserve and need to the full extent that men have.
Our reporter Ines caught up with up-and-coming grime artist July the 7th.
And Jess brings us the weather as we look ahead to the Year of the Dog. Hello and welcome to today's show. I'm Josh Smith.
And I'm Roisin Crew.
A 17-year-old boy is fighting for his life after being attacked in Wythenshawe this morning. Our reporter Ellie is here to tell us the story. So Ellie, tell us more.
Yes, Josh, as you say, a 17-year-old boy was attacked in the early hours of this morning while he was walking along Oatlands Road in Wythenshawe. The police suggest that around about 5 to 6 individuals surrounded the boy with a baseball bat and attacked him. Because of this, he has now serious head injuries and the ambulance service was called on the scene at 8:55 this morning. They took him to Salford Royal Hospital. The policeman on the scene was Detective Inspector Gareth Davis of the Greater Manchester Police. He has commented on this incident, saying that they are, as a police service, in the early stages of the investigation. They say that the boy has received emergency treatment, but he's still in serious condition in hospital. They also have appealed for anyone who has any information to come forward on calling the number 101 and quoting the incident number, that's 1928.
Thank you, Ellie.
Now, I'm sure most of you have been stuck in traffic one day this week on your way to work. Newbury Road, Buxton Road and Frederick Road have all been ranked amongst the most congested places to drive in the country. Here in Asir went to find out more.
The 3 most used roads in Manchester have been ranked among the 10 congested places to drive in the UK outside of London. Drivers spent an average of 39 hours stuck in traffic during peak times in 2017. All this traffic is being estimated to have cost the Manchester economy an average of £345 million. Each driver has contributed a total of £1,400 towards direct costs like petrol.
Manchester's seen a tremendous demand over the last decade. Do remember, this is the second largest city in the UK. It's one of Europe's powerhouses in terms of economic growth. You've had major relocation of jobs and companies from London to Manchester. You have the largest student population of any city in Europe. So the students have also added to that demand. The road network here was designed to cater for the needs of 100 years ago and following on maybe a decade, 2 decades. But they never foresaw such a rapid expansion of cheap availability of cars. So that's the main reason that's propelling all of this. The council did try and bring a congestion charge in, similar to London, and that was put to a referendum, a citywide referendum, that was rejected. Now, the other things that we have been doing in the past has been encouraging cycling. So I'm sure you and the viewers have been well aware of the cycling lanes that are all over the city. The trams, of course, the tram network is being expanded already, Wythenshawe, Rochdale, Bolton. So these are the kind of things that they have been doing, but it's going to need a lot more than that, I feel. The average citizen of Manchester, they lose about 40 hours a year just sat in traffic. 40 hours, imagine that. And of course the direct cost to the economy has been estimated at 1.3 billion per year. So over 10 years, that's 13 billion and increasing. So it is an imperative that we try and deal with this. The newly established Mayor's Office, Andy Burnham, has made it a priority in terms of tackling congestion. We've just completed a 6-week consultation, and that was last week, I believe, and a new Transport for Greater Manchester plan will be unveiled in the spring of this year. That encompasses all sorts of things. For example, increasing flexi working, car sharing, increasing access to public transport, renovating the railway systems, and trying to renew the road infrastructure, bringing in all sorts of schemes for people to work from home. So there's a whole raft of measures that we'll try and bring in to try and deal with this and try and really renew our transport infrastructure. But just between you and I think what's really going to hit this and what's really going to be the game changer is actually the clean air legislation. That is going to actually really drive the changes in transport policy that will bring down the congestion.
A march and rally was held in Manchester last night to represent national support for the victims of the Grenfell Tower disaster. Pira Mathuri reports.
Many people from around Greater Manchester have gathered in Piccadilly Gardens to march for the Grenfell Tower victims. 71 people walked in single file whilst carrying photos of those who died in the fire.
I'm one of the people who won't forget these pictures, seeing them on, only on TV, but it was really quite shocking, and I will never forget that.
Well, people have forgotten very quickly, but they normally do. It's the same with events in the past with the Manchester bombing, going back through history with different disasters. Talk about Hillsborough, which is a big one, but there were lots of others around before that. And it takes communities to remember and keep it alive. And if we do nothing, it will die and nothing will happen. So we've got to stand together and do something about it.
The event included a minute's silence, as well as speeches by the Grenfell Tower residents and the Fire Brigades Union.
And I thank you tonight for coming on this march. As I often say back in London, on the silent march, our silence speaks volumes. And I can guarantee you that when we go back to London, we will continue the fight for justice for Grenfell.
The march here in Manchester coincides with a march happening in London. The organisers of the march have said they want to represent unity and solidarity for the victims of Grenfell Tower.
We don't want this to die. It's too important to kind of allow it to just be swept away or to be forgotten about. We've seen other injustices where it's taken people almost 30 years to kind of get justice, and we can't allow that to carry on happening. We must get justice for the people.
It's clear that the march has had an impact on the people here in Manchester, and it's hoped that more events like this will be held in the future. Priya Matharu, Quays News.
100 years on from when women gained the right to vote, the question of whether equality has been achieved remains. Our reporter Julia Kirkwood went to investigate.
A movement made in Manchester, the suffragettes campaigned for over 50 years to get women the right to vote. In 1918, a bill was finally passed allowing some women this right. 2018 marks 100 years since women gained the vote in Britain. At this time, this was a dramatic change. But now, after this century, what exactly has changed and where are women now seen in society?
I think we've come a little way, but not far enough. We've not got the equality that we deserve and need to the full extent.
Salford Women's Centre helps women of all backgrounds in the community. They provide services from postnatal depression counselling to creative writing classes and a community kitchen. They are clear that more needs to be done in the next 100 years for women.
Over the last 20 years since I had postnatal depression, and that's why I trained and started this group, not a lot's changed. So I really hope that there has been some change in 100 years. Hopefully we might get to the stage where it's recognised, respected, and there's a lot of support there.
With all the cutbacks and all the progression that we've made in so many ways with equality for all, including obviously us women, I think we're going back in time.
All the time. I've worked in this service for 35 years and every year I see a cut in funding. So if we're saying we've got equality, why is equality not being met with the pounds? It's like the women's services are the first to go, the voluntary services. They get cut to the bone and we end up with nothing.
In the city where the groundbreaking movement started, women still believe that they are not equal in society, but that suffragette spirit is still strong and will live on for the next 100 years.
Of university life, fashion students at the University of Salford have been thrown a lifeline. Former fashion lecturer Barbara Baldwin, who taught there in the 70s and 80s, has left £50,000 in her will to the Fashion and Design Department to help finance projects such as international placements and research visits. Our reporter Grace O'Hare tells us more.
The idea of the fund is going to be that students can apply for it in their second or third year. In their second year, it's going to go towards things like work placement. If they want to do work placements like out of the country and they can't afford to do that. And in the third year, it's more towards the collection and the fabrics and those sort of more expensive parts of the programme.
I think the amazing thing about this particular legacy is the fact that it was made 30 years ago. And Barbara worked at other places since then, both internationally and in the UK, but she still remembered Salford and she still wanted to make a gift to Salford. Barbara would be really pleased to know that her kindness and her generosity is going to have a real impact on students and be life-changing. It's going to give them opportunities that they could only have dreamt of in terms of progressing their career.
And in entertainment, the NME Awards were held last night in London's O2 Arena, with Ariana Grande's One Love concert winning the Moment of the Year. Liam Gallagher also picked up Godlike Genius Award. Speaking of local talent, up-and-coming grime artist July the 7th caught up with our reporter Ines to explain the importance of being an independent artist.
I've always been doing music from a long time. The best way I could put it is that it's my first memories of doing music. My mum introduced me to a lot of music growing up, so picking up on that has really been what's made me like music so much. Independent artist is way better for me in this day and age because I can choose. If I make a song today, I can drop it tomorrow, I can do whatever I like, so there's a lot of benefits of being independent.
In sport, it's been very busy this weekend with our local teams in the FA Cup. Manchester United travel to Huddersfield tomorrow and the Terriers will be bringing all they have to redeem themselves after the recent 2-0 defeat at Old Trafford. It's also a massive game for Rochdale, who play Tottenham at home this Sunday. Manchester City also feature in this weekend's fixtures as they took on Wigan Athletic at the DW Stadium on Monday evening.
And in cricket, Old Trafford is set to host its first Ashes Test match in 5 years. Club executive James Price says he is excited for what benefits it will bring to the club and to the city of Manchester.
We had the Ashes in 2005, which was one of the most memorable Test matches the game has ever seen. It's the pinnacle of cricket, hosting an Ashes Test. It's really important to the club. We'll sell out pretty much every day from the first 4 days, and hopefully it'll go to a 5th day. It's the best Test match you can get. We had the Ashes in 2005, which was one of the most memorable Test matches the game has ever seen, and so we're delighted that we'll be hosting an Ashes Test in 23. I mean, it's huge for Manchester. The number of visitors it will attract from all across the UK, but also all across the world. There'll be thousands of Australian fans coming over to Manchester, staying in Manchester, staying in the hotels, eating in the restaurants and drinking in bars. There will be a huge financial impact to the city of Manchester, and it will be great for cricket supporters all across the northwest to come to Emirates Old Trafford and watch an Ashes Test. England have got a good record here at Emirates Old Trafford. England are unbeaten in Test match cricket since 2001, I think, against Pakistan. So they haven't been beaten here in a long time. It's obviously a few years away, but it's English cricket's looking pretty promising despite the Ashes defeat over the winter, and hopefully we can host England to another win.
Ahead of Chinese New Year this weekend, Jess Williams takes a look at what we can expect for the weather as we enter into the Year of the Dog.
A windy day here in Media City. Expect wintry showers and sunny spells throughout the day with highs of 7 degrees. Heading into the evening, the showers will clear with spells turning it rather cold. So if you are heading out post Valentine's Day, make sure to wrap up warm. Friday, plenty of dry weather with decent amount of sunshine with highs of 8 degrees. Going into the weekend, there is a similar outlook, bright spells with 1 or 2 showers expected overnight. If the other half is giving you the silent treatment after a disappointing Valentine's Day, then venturing out into Manchester this Sunday for the Chinese New Year parade might be a good idea. This has been Jess Williams, Quays News.
Well, we should be nice and dry this weekend when we go on our late Valentine's date, as neither Roisin nor I had one.
Yeah, that is very true.
Thank you very much.
That's all from us today. To keep up to date with the latest news, follow Quays News on Facebook and Twitter. Goodbye.
Bye.